All right, what's going on, guys? It's Cam from Fantasize, and today we got a little bit of a special video for you. Okay, we got Ninja 400, Ninja 500. We're going to do a deep dive in the comparison of the two. We're going to take both on a ride, which you guys have seen me do the 500 before. I ride all the time. It's my personal bike, but we're going to compare it to a Ninja 400, my sister-in-law's bike, to see what really are the major differences. And just from looking at them, you could tell that there's a slight difference in style. Obviously, both of these bikes are not completely stock. I want to preface that. My bike has different mirrors, different grips, an exhaust, different tail tidy. The other bike has frame sliders, mine doesn't, stock mirrors, different seats, stock exhaust, a different tail tidy. So there's some few key differences, but for the most part, the bikes are pretty identical. But we're going to talk about what the differences are and the price difference and which bike in the long run would be the better investment. Let's do it. Alright, first things first, Ninja 400. You know it, you love it. There's a million of them, and there's a reason why these bikes are so sought after, okay? I mean, for starters, just by looking at them, we're going to go off the differences, are the dash. The seat is a little bit skinnier and a little more forward slanting. The 500, the seat is a bit more flat, as you can see just from this right here. Granted, that is an aftermarket seat, so it's not as slanted forward as the factory seat, because she wanted something a little more comfortable. Can't blame her. And then the dash on here, completely different. So our dash looks like this. You guys have seen it before. Doesn't have any crazy rider modes or anything like that. Neither does the 400. But then you come over here and you've got a very basic analog dash, which in my opinion I kind of like a little bit better. The only difference that I could say the 500 does better is your temp gauge right here. There's no number, it's just a bar. And I think Kawasaki listened when they finally added the best thing on here, a temp gauge. Now you can't, oh, there it is, 176, an actual temp gauge. The only thing that I hate about it is the fans don't come on until like 2:15 or something, which is honestly kind of insane for down here in the South. You're like cooking at 2:15, and that's just how this bike is. But just off of that, those are like the key differences when you're looking at them versus like the factory exhaust is the exact same. There's nothing different. The motor for the most part is the exact same. The frame is the same. It's got the same forks, 41 millimeter forks. Then they both have one single disc in the front, single disc in the rear. They're the exact same, although that rotor looks a little bit different than that. But I don't know if that one could be replaced. No, probably not. I guess they have different rotors, but they're gonna have about the same performance, so there's no crazy difference there. But just about everything for the most part is the exact same. I mean, literally down to like the plastics. That is the exact same thing as that. The exact same piece. And for the most part, you could probably transfer over just about all of the plastics. I mean, they got this piece. It's a little bit different on this one. It's a little more extroverted, like the nose. Oh, it's disgusting, don't touch that. But the nose is different. We got these little winglets on here versus the 400 does not have that. Doesn't have those little winglets and stuff. So there's a little bit of a style difference, and I'm sure it probably doesn't help at all because these bikes don't get fast enough to be super aerodynamic. But one of the other big things is going to be little stuff, okay? And stuff that you're probably not going to realize, okay? This bike weighs 365 pounds, roughly, okay? Give or take a few pounds for gas, whatever, okay? The 500, why did I leave my phone there? Keep me down. The 500 makes, I want to say, sorry, we're not talking about power, we're talking about weight. The 500 has 382, give or take a few pounds, to work with. So you've got almost a 15 to 20 pound difference between these two bikes, and this bike only makes 2 more horsepower. The big difference is going to be torque, and that's why this is the biggest topic between these two bikes, because the 500 makes 48 torque. It's pretty good comparative to, I believe the 400 only makes about 30. But here's the difference, okay? That 2 horsepower does not make up the difference for speed, all right? You put a 100-pound rider on both of these, this will probably get it out of the jump. That bike's gonna be faster through the corners. It's got way more top end, it's got 1,500 more RPM to work with, and is a lighter bike. So in terms of that, sure, out of the jump, first, second, third gear, this bike's gonna be faster. Third, fourth, fifth gear, that bike's gonna be faster. Granted, these both have 6 gears, but you're probably not hitting 6 in a corner unless you're really hauling. But these are like small, minute differences that most people aren't talking about, you know? So it's like, sure, the 400 doesn't make as much power, right? It's missing 2 horsepower comparative to the 451cc that the 500 has. But is that 2 horsepower enough to make up the difference of the lack of 1,500 RPM and just a little bit more torque with a heavier bike that, sure, I guess technically makes it more planted, and it's got a little bit of a wider seat, so it's more comfy, and the weight does help it. But if you want something that's more like track based, you're definitely gonna want the 400, you know what I mean? So these are just little things that most people don't consider. Plus, you also have to think about the price point. I mean, come on, like, you can't talk about how the MSRP for these were 5,700, I think. This is like 6,800 MSRP, at least over here in the Southeast. And out the door, you're probably looking at close to 8 grand for a Ninja 500. That's not financing it. You finance it, you're probably gonna be like 11 to 12, which is ridiculous, but that's just how it is down here, or at least with all the interest rates and stuff right now. Versus you can get a used 400 for 3 to 5K. Now that 5K, I would say, is like very on the high end, like no miles, like less than 2,000 miles on it, like brand new tires, 1 owner. That would be like a pristine 400 I would pay like 5 for, and that would just be because it would be worth it at that point. And they do have decent resale value because they are a great beginner bike. But we're gonna hop on the bikes. I'm gonna show you guys some of the differences. We're gonna hit some of these back roads out here, and then we will come to a final decision. I'll let you guys figure out which one truly is better, the 400 or the 500. But let's go for a ride. We're gonna go down some of these back roads. We gotta be careful because it looks like a lot of people are getting their grass cut today, so just gotta be mindful of that. And get a complex comparison of the 400 and the 500. So off rip, you can really tell that weight difference for sure. And look at the tack. Mine tops out at 10.5 is where it redlines. This redlines at 12. Dude, so much better. I know the 400 and the 500 have a similar clutch setup. They have the slipper clutch, but it almost feels like the 400s is like very, very soft compared to the 500. Like very soft. Like this takes nothing. not really getting into it just yet, just because we gotta let it warm up a little bit more. Oh, and I forgot to snap, there we go, snap my helmet in place. Now, I kind of miss my mirrors on the 500. I kind of miss being able to see behind me. But also, there's no need to look behind you because the past is the past. And there's a reason why they call it the past, because it's behind you. Anyway. No, so this is the Ninja 400. And honestly, it's so much more flickable than the 500. I'm just trying to get the tires a little more warmed up, which honestly, if you guys didn't know, rocking back and forth does nothing for your tires. It just dissipates heat. If you want to heat your tires up, you need to do to accelerate and then hard brake. The stock exhaust is kind of funny. I can't hear the bike at all, really. But now we're warmed up a little bit more. Let's see, like, the thing that is the big difference to me is, yeah, the 500's got the torque, but like in areas like this, the 400 has so much more top end comparatively. I mean, it's not a lot because it is a small bike, but between the two, something hit me. But between the two, I mean, what else is there than the RPM? Now, the RPM does make a big difference. You can feel the lack of torque, but it seems like the power band is a little more like almost like what an inline 4 would be, which is not really punchy at the bottom, but the higher up it gets, the more it pulls. That's kind of how it feels. Compared to mine, it feels like a dirt bike where all the power's at the bottom and there's no power up top. Remember when I said we're not taking corners in 6th gear? Yeah, anyway. But you can also tell here too, when I lean back, I'll show you guys. So, you don't really think about it, but, well, unless you've ridden them, you won't really understand that this bike feels so much more narrow. And I don't know how else to explain that, but other than it feels skinnier. And you can, because it's skinnier, you can feel the weight difference pretty good. Like, you can tell that this bike weighs 20 pounds less. It's a little bit easier to keep upright when you let off. Like, obviously you're not supposed to do this, but it's a lot skinnier in the tank. I don't know if the tanks are the same size because they almost look the same, but they're probably a little different. I'm not sure, I'll have to look at that, but I honestly kind of want to say that they have the same tank, but the 500 feels like it's a bit bulkier up here. Or it might just be the seating position, because like right now on the 400 I feel like I'm sitting pretty high up, but like I don't feel like I'm as like slouched down in the bike because the tank's so low. I think the 500 is the tank's a little bit higher up. I want to look at that when we get back. We'll see. I might just be tripping. I haven't ridden this in a while. But for the most part, I mean, she flows well, so you could see just off of maintaining speed, it feels like it maintains speed a little bit better, even in 6th gear, because you're kind of just rolling through the corners. Like, you don't have to put as much effort into it because the power is there at the top end. Versus the 500 is a little slouchier when it comes to like maintaining speed just in 6th gear like this.
It's also kind of nice having a stock exhaust, but I hate it here in the chain roll up places. You just hear that instead of a normal bike. And it feels like the gearing is different on this thing. Like, so much different. Anybody behind us? No. Alright. See, once it starts getting into the gear, it feels good. That's where I can say there's the big difference, is the 500 has a lot more ass at the bottom end. It'll make you want, like, all you gotta do on this thing is just lean forward a little bit and it won't move at all. On the 500, if you're at all leaned back or sitting upright, it'll try to stand up and first, just off of like pure power wheelie. Like, it won't just stand up 12 o'clock, but it will pick up the front tire if you give it a little bit of oomph out the gate. But just like this stuff is where I think the 400 is superior, because it almost takes nothing to lean off and feel comfortable. Versus the 500, it feels like it takes a little bit more effort. But both of these bikes do have the tendency to, like, I don't know how to explain it, but they kind of turn on top of themselves, which would be similar to like a car when it has an angle kit. It can literally just turn on itself, and it creates like a situation where you almost don't even have to drive the car or ride the bike, because it wants to turn on itself. Like, you don't really have to turn it. You don't have to lean a whole lot to get it to go. There's like little minute inputs just on the bars, just counter steering a little bit, you know? It makes a really big difference. This little minute inputs. Like, I'm not really doing much. Not even really getting a workout here. I feel like the 400 shifts a lot smoother though. I may be wrong. It almost feels like the gears on this are like pretty linear versus the 500. It's like first gear's really short, second gear's okay. Whoa! Big ass bird! They were trying to get me. Oh, a little bit of gravel. No biggie. But I was saying, it's like, it's almost, the 400's gears are like boom, 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 and they all feel like they have about the same amount of power all the way through. Obviously 56 are going to vary because, you know, they're going to be long compared to the starting gears, but they don't feel as abrupt. It's like the 500's like, first gear's really short, second gear is like still kind of short, but it's okay. Third is alright, fourth is really long, fifth is really long, sixth is ridiculous. Like, it almost seems like the gears are different. I'm wondering if it's the same or if it's literally just the torque that makes a difference. I'm curious, because it doesn't seem like the 400 is as abrupt. It shifts smoother almost. I don't know how to explain that. Like, it takes nothing. Like that 30 and my bike dropping into second would make it feel like it wants to fly out of my freaking hands. Honestly, the weight is, you wouldn't think about it. Like, you wouldn't think, oh yeah, 20 pounds makes a big difference. It does. 20 pounds for 2 horsepower. I don't know, man. You do the math there. But I think my overall opinion right now, 400 better. In ways the 400's better, and in ways the 500's better. It's kind of personal preference. I mean, everything is personal preference, really. But like, I don't know, if you want something that's going to be a little more consistent through corners, it's light, it's easier to maneuver, it's good to learn on, you want to track it eventually, definitely 400. You want something to just commute around on, maybe do corners every once in a while, 500. You want something a little more sport touring like, 500. You want something that's a little peppy with a couple mods will make it feel a little bit better, 400. Truthfully though, it's just about, you can do most of the exact same mods on both bikes because of the way that they're built. The bottom end is the only thing that's different. All right, we're gonna go grab, blah, blah. I can't speak today, guys, I'm sorry. We're gonna go grab the 500 and take the same route, and I want you guys to see if there's any major differences. Obviously my body position is gonna be a little bit different across both bikes, but and I'm not as comfortable on this bike as I am on my own, but we can definitely probably see any differences. But so far I think the big one is this seat is actually getting kind of uncomfortable, not gonna lie, and that's only been like 20 minutes. The big difference is gonna be it feels skinnier, so it almost feels like I'm really tucked in compared to the 500. I sit kind of like here, so I feel really tucked in, a little bit of confidence, honestly. And I don't know, it's kind of confidence boosting to know that like you're really tucked in and you don't really have to like hold on as much versus, and like even that, I don't know if the 500 just needs an alignment or what, because like this doesn't feel like it goes anywhere. I'm surfing right now, like I don't know. You can tell the sound difference too a little bit, even with just the exhaust. Like being factory, that one is like smooth. This one sounds like a dirt bike. This one's gonna be hot, dude. My gonads are on fire right now. Alright, we're gonna take the exact same route down and back, just like we did on the 400. The 500, like you can really roll into power. The torque is what makes all the big difference. The other thing too that you're probably not going to think about is if you line these bikes straight up, if you put me and her next to each other, her bike's going to be faster through and through all the way through, simply because she's 100 pounds lighter, you know? Big difference. The torque is not going to make up for rider weight. I don't know, I guess the gearing is pretty similar. I just feel like I don't know. Truthfully, I don't know. It feels like the gearing is similar, but I guess it's just the torque that makes it feel like the gears aren't as long. which I guess is a good thing. I guess it feels faster, but I don't know if it necessarily is. Ow! Ow, that was a freaking June bug in my arm. Ow! Ah, I felt like getting hit with a rock. Oh, this Bigfoot, this AI Bigfoot throwing freaking rocks at me, dude. Now see the difference, if you look, the tank is wider, 100%. 100%. Jumping off of that one and coming straight to this one, literally I turned the camera off for like 2 seconds. Jumped straight on this one. I didn't even take my helmet off. You could definitely tell that the tank is a little bit wider. I thought it was just the color at first. I thought maybe the white makes it look a little bit skinnier, but it's not. Definitely the black tank is a little bit wider right here. It's got a little more of an aggressive like lip on the top of it. I don't know. It doesn't feel as tucked in. Or at least as tucked in as this one feels. But it almost seems like you can roll into 6 a little bit better on this. Even though 6 really sucks on this bike. Alright. I guess that torque does make a big difference in 4th. I don't know, I feel like an experienced 400 rider and an experienced 500 rider, it'd be a really good battle. Because this bike's got more punch at the bottom, obviously, because of the torque, which I've mentioned like 700 million times. So you can probably play a shot game with how many times I have said torque and power. But anyway, definitely a little bit heavier. I mean, it is heavier, but you can feel it in the bars. Whereas you couldn't feel it in the bars as much on the 400, it just kind of went. But like going straight from that to this, definitely you could tell a difference in weight. That's why I wanted to ride that one first, because I'm not used to that one. I'm used to this, but it still got me kind of out of whack coming from the 400 to the 500. The 451, the big old 451. Can't forget the one. It's a 450. Whew, that rear ABS was putting in some work. Just feels like that first and second gear are the only thing that's quicker. The torque definitely helps out through corners and stuff though. Obviously I'm more used to the 500, so I can ride it a little more aggressive than I would somebody else's bike. Birds coming from. That's one of the good things about North Carolina, dude. There's so much nature here, but it's also annoying because you could just be riding and get hit by dirt daubers or June bugs or, you know. Right there, rolling out of corners towards the top of the gear. On the 500, anything after 8K feels dead. It doesn't feel like it wants to pull. Versus the 400, that's the big difference right there. That's where I wanted to feel it. Coming out of a corner and pushing hard, that's when you're gonna notice the big difference in the power. This is all towards like the mid-range, between like 5 and 8, and the 400 is between like 9 up. That's where the difference is going to be. That's why I say the 400 is faster through corners. You know what? We could just turn around right here. These guys are probably like, why the heck does this guy keep going down this way and turning around on different motorcycles? I'm just showing off. Almost 8K miles on this thing with a dead rear tire, and it still rips. That's what I can say is these things in general, the 400 or 500, they are units, brother. Units. They just work so good. These people are probably like, he just went by on a white motorcycle. He came back a couple minutes later, he's on a black motorcycle. He got one of them fancy color changing motorcycles that I seen on Facebook. It's definitely not AI. Know what I mean? Know what I mean? Know what I mean? Just making sure you know what I mean. Go ahead. Go ahead. You stop first. You stop first. Come on. You stop first. Let go. Come on, man. Come on, FedEx. This is why we don't go full speed. That's a blind corner right there with a turn. Keep a moderate pace and you stay consistent, and you'll flow all the way through all these corners. Completely different video. I need to do that. How to ride back roads. Oh, it's a turtle! Ah! I need to save the turtle! Fuck, there's nowhere to turn around. Ah! Ah! Fuck! Yeah, there is. We need to save the turtle. Save the turtle. We must save the city. We save the city. We save the turtle. We gotta make it fast. Buddy! Where'd you go, buddy? Go, buddy. You got it, buddy. I'll make sure nobody comes and runs you over. We gotta make sure the turtle crosses the street. You got it, buddy. Keep going, buddy. I help you. I help you. I help you. I help you. Obviously, probably haven't helped you very much. I help you, buddy. I help you, buddy. Hello. Hello. I help you. I help you. Bye, buddy. Be safe, buddy. Bye, buddy. Saved a turtle. Honestly, he would have made it across. Let's be honest. But now I feel good. Now I feel like I saved a turtle. Your gas cap's open. Sorry guys, I got sidetracked by a turtle. I saved a turtle. Not really. I mean, he would have made it across, but now I feel better about myself. I think I scared him into not moving when I could have just put him over. But that car wasn't far behind me, so he might not have made it if I wouldn't have put him over, because they may have not swerved. Know what I mean? Hello.
So, like, if we're talking new rider, budget friendly, we're definitely going Ninja 400, because it doesn't have as much torque. It won't catch you off guard when you're just starting to ride, versus this has enough torque it'll come up on you if you're not really paying attention and you're a lighter rider. Now, like commuting and like slight touring and more torque, obviously we're gonna say Ninja 500. And then track and lightweight focus, we're definitely gonna say 400. It's got more RPM to play with on the top, and it's a lighter bike, so you have way more to work with. Tech and long-term comfort, we'll probably just say the 500. Like long-term rides, I've taken this thing 5-6 hour rides, and it's comfy. I haven't taken this on that long of a ride, but from what I've been told from her riding, she says after about 2-3 hours it's not very comfortable at that point, just because the seat's not super great, and you know, riding for consecutive amount of time can be pretty annoying. Especially if it's like all straight line and you're not doing anything but commuting from one place to another. So let me know what you guys think down below between 400 and 500. Which one you guys taking? 500, 400. Like, comment, sub, do all the fun stuff. Appreciate you. We'll see you later. Peace.